The morning sun barely broke through the thick clouds, casting a pale light over the frozen landscape. The blizzard had weakened, leaving the hills coated in deep snow that glittered in shades of white and silver. Inside Taro's hut, the fire crackled warmly, casting soft orange light on the wooden walls. Taro moved quietly, checking the traps he had set the night before and adjusting the fire to maintain steady warmth. Nira sat near the window, her glowing eyes scanning the horizon. She had begun to trust him fully, yet her gaze remained alert. Aware that danger could arrive at any moment, Taro turned to her. "Today we act," he said slowly, pointing to the traps outside and then to the glowing device around her neck. Nira nodded, understanding that the time for preparation had ended. They needed to face the threats now, risk losing everything they had worked for. The sound came first, as a distant crunch through the snow. Taro froze, listening carefully. Nira's eyes widened, and she held her device tightly. The pursuers were close, moving silently but steadily through the snow. Taro gestured for her to stay calm and follow his lead. Together, they moved through the hut, preparing the final defenses. Small obstacles were rearranged to create paths that would mislead any intruder. And the snow around the hut was disturbed in a deliberate pattern to confuse tracking. Nira watched closely, amazed at Taro's focus and ingenuity. He had not panicked once. Each action was precise, calculated, and effective. She realized that human courage was not always loud or physical. It was calm, deliberate, and capable of solving problems under extreme pressure. She began to feel confidence in his ability to protect them both. Suddenly, movement appeared in the distance. 3 figures emerged from the snow, cautious but determined. Nira's eyes glowed brighter with fear, and she instinctively pressed closer to Taro. He gestured for her to stay low and quiet. The figures moved toward the hut, stepping carefully. But unaware of the traps and obstacles Taro had prepared, Taro acted quickly. He knocked over a pile of logs, creating a loud crash that echoed through the frozen hills. The pursuers froze, confused by the unexpected sound. Then, using small blocks of ice he had arranged near the door, he caused snow to tumble down, creating a barrier between the intruders and the hut. The pursuers hesitated, unsure which way to proceed. Nira watched, her admiration growing. Human ingenuity could create protection from almost nothing, even in a landscape dominated by snow and ice. Taro's actions were precise and clever, turning the harsh environment into an advantage. She realized that humans could face danger creatively, using intelligence and resourcefulness in ways that her species had underestimated. The intruders advanced again, cautiously stepping through the snow. Taro and Nira moved silently to the back of the hut. Using a small hatch he had prepared, they slipped outside into a narrow path he had cleared. Snow hid their movements, and the pursuers were focused on the traps in front of the hut. Once they were safely at a distance, Taro signaled Nira to run. She hesitated for a moment, then followed. Together, they moved quickly but carefully through the snowy landscape. Taro had studied the terrain and chosen a path that would allow them to evade the intruders while conserving their energy. Nira followed, trusting his plan fully. The snow was deep and the cold harsh. But Taro's preparations ensured that their path was safe. Small shelters made of snow and wood provided rest points, and he led her around dangerous slopes and thin ice. Nira's glowing eyes reflected both fear and admiration. She had begun to understand that human strength was not only physical but mental and moral. Taro's courage, intelligence, careful planning had created a chance for her to survive. Hours passed as they moved through the frozen hills. The pursuers continued to follow at a distance, but Taro had anticipated their movements. He used the wind, the snow, and the terrain to mislead them, creating false tracks and using natural obstacles to slow their progress. Nira was amazed at his ability to think ahead, to use the environment to their advantage, and to remain calm under extreme pressure. Finally, they reached a high ridge overlooking a valley. Taro gestured for Nira to stay low and watch. In the valley below, the pursuers were still searching, but they had lost the trail. Taro pointed to a hidden path that would lead Nira to safety, a route he had discovered when exploring the area weeks before. It was narrow and difficult, but it would take her out of reach of her hunters. Nira looked at him, eyes glowing with gratitude. She spoke in broken words and gestures indicating her thanks. Taro nodded, understanding fully. "You are strong," he said. "You will survive." She touched his arm lightly, a silent gesture of respect and trust. In that moment, a connection formed between them that went beyond words. It was a bond of survival, courage, and mutual respect. Taro stayed behind long enough to ensure that the pursuers would not follow the hidden path. Using small diversions and careful placement of snow and ice, he created obstacles that would slow anyone attempting to track her. Nira began to descend the path, moving carefully but with growing confidence. Each step was a testament to the trust she had placed in him, and to the human ingenuity that had created this opportunity for escape. As Nira disappeared into the valley, Taro paused to watch. He felt a sense of pride, not in himself, but in the human ability to act with courage, intelligence, and moral clarity. He had used his skills and his patience to protect another being, to create safety where there had been none, and to demonstrate the strength of humans in a harsh and dangerous world. Hours later, as the sun set, Taro returned to the hut. The storm had left its mark, but the shelter remained intact. He checked the traps, the fire, and the supplies. Everything was as he had left it, proof that careful preparation and human ingenuity could withstand extreme conditions. He knew that Nira was safe now, that she would carry the lessons she had learned about humans with her for the rest of her life. Days passed. Taro continued his work exploring the snowy hills and reinforcing his hut. He thought often of Nira, remembering her glowing eyes, her courage, and her growing admiration for human skill and moral strength. He realized that the encounter had changed him as well. He had faced challenges that tested not only his intellect and survival skills, but also his ability to act with compassion and patience under pressure. Then, one morning, a faint signal reached him from the valley. He recognized it immediately as coming from Nira's device. She had reached safety, using the path he had shown her. The signal was brief but clear, a confirmation that she was alive and moving toward a safe haven. Taro felt a deep satisfaction, knowing that his ingenuity, courage, careful planning had made the difference. Later, he received another signal, a short message conveyed through Nira's device. It was a simple gesture of thanks, a symbol of respect and acknowledgement. Taro smiled, realizing that the bond between human and alien had endured beyond the immediate danger. He had demonstrated the human spirit, courage, intelligence, moral strength. And moral strength in Nira had seen it firsthand. Taro continued his work in the snowy hills, reflecting on the events that had transpired. The storm had brought Nira to his hut. Fear had initially caused panic, but through patience, ingenuity, and compassion, he had created trust and safety. He had faced danger with careful planning, used the environment to his advantage, and protected another being in a way that demonstrated the best of human qualities. Nira's escape marked the culmination of their journey together. She had survived because of her own courage and skill, but also because of the human ingenuity and moral clarity Taro had displayed. She would return to her people, carrying the story of a human who acted with intelligence, courage, and compassion in the harshest of circumstances. The human spirit, Taro realized, was not defined by strength alone. It was defined by the ability to act with foresight, to protect others, to demonstrate moral courage in situations that demanded creativity and patience. He had proven this not through words or boasts, but through actions, and the result had been survival, trust, and respect. As night fell over the frozen hills, Taro sat by the fire in his hut. The world outside was quiet, the storm long past. He reflected on the events that had brought Nira to him, the challenges they had faced together, and the lessons they had learned. The bond they had formed, brief as it might have been, was a testament to the strength of humans, the ability to survive, to protect, and to act with courage and moral clarity in the face of danger. The story of Taro and Nira ended with safety, respect, and understanding. The alien woman had fled the storm and found refuge, learning that humans could be courageous, clever, and compassionate. Taro had demonstrated that human ingenuity and moral strength could overcome extreme danger. Together they had proven that even in the harshest and most alien environments, the human spirit could shine brightly, creating trust, protection, and survival where there had been none. The snow continued to glisten under the moonlight, the hills silent and calm. Taro sat quietly, content in the knowledge that he had acted with the courage, intelligence, and patience that defined the best of humanity. Nira had survived, her trust and admiration earned through careful planning, bravery, and compassion. The human spirit had triumphed, not through violence, but through ingenuity, courage, and moral strength. The sun was rising over Falcon Air Base, painting the sky in soft orange and pink. Mina, an 11-year-old girl with bright eyes and a curious mind, stood near the runway with her father. She loved airplanes more than anything. She read books about them, watched videos of pilots, and even practiced on flight simulators at home. Today, she was finally at a real airbase. Her father, Armin, worked as a technician in the control tower. He had promised Mina a special day to watch the jets take off and land. Mina bounced on her heels, pointing at the F-22 fighter jets lined up for their morning exercises. "Look at them, Papa," she said, her voice full of excitement. "They are huge and so fast. Can you imagine flying one?" Armand smiled. "One day, maybe. For now, just watch carefully and see how skilled the pilots are." Mina nodded. She could hardly keep still. Every jet gleamed in the morning sunlight, the metal reflecting gold and silver. The pilots were checking their controls, climbing into their cockpits, and communicating with the tower. Mina's eyes followed every movement. She memorized the buttons, the levers, and the screens. She imagined herself sitting in the pilot's seat, feeling the power of the engine, soaring through the clouds. Suddenly, the sound of a powerful engine broke the calm morning. One jet, a shiny F-22 marked Falcon 1, roared as it began its takeoff run. Mina's heart jumped. The pilot, Lieutenant Farid, sat upright in the cockpit, focused and ready. Mina waved excitedly at him. He waved back, smiling. The jet sped down the runway. Mina could feel the vibration through the ground. But something was wrong. Farid's movements became shaky. His hands faltered on the controls. The jet wobbled slightly, veering to the side. Mina's father noticed it immediately. "Something is wrong," he shouted. He ran to the radio, trying to contact Farid. "Falcon 1, respond. Are you okay?" There was no reply. Mina's stomach tightened. She saw Farid slump forward. The jet was still moving at incredible speed. It could easily crash. Panic spread among the ground crew and the other pilots. Mina's heart raced. She remembered every detail her father had shown her about the cockpit. She knew it was impossible for a child to fly a real F-22, but she could not just watch. She ran as fast as she could toward the jet as it rolled toward the end of the runway. The jet was now dangerously close to the grass. Armand ran behind her, shouting her name. "Mina, stop. You can't." But Mina didn't stop. Her mind was clear and focused. She climbed into the cockpit before anyone could stop her. The seat felt enormous under her small frame. She looked around quickly, remembering what she had seen on videos. The throttle, the yoke, the buttons. The screen, she could identify them all. Her small hands reached for the controls. She tried to push them as gently as she could. The jet wobbled again, but she managed to steady it slightly. The runway lights blurred as the F-22 continued to accelerate. From the control tower, Armand watched in disbelief. "Oh no, she's in the cockpit," he whispered. His heart pounded. How is this even possible? Ground control radioed urgently, their voices filled with panic. "Falcon 1, identify yourself. Who is in the cockpit?" Mina's voice was steady, but soft. I'm Mina. I can fly the jet. Please help me land it." There was silence for a moment. Then a calm, experienced pilot in another jet responded. "Mina, listen to me. You need to stay calm. I will guide you. Keep your hands on the controls and follow my instructions." Mina nodded. She could barely see the pilot's jet in the distance, but she listened carefully. She adjusted the throttle, just enough to keep the jet from nosediving. She remembered to pull the yoke back slightly to lift the nose. The F-22 climbed a little. "Good job," the voice said. "Now, slowly turn left and stay on the runway path. Don't panic." Mina felt fear, but she also felt excitement. Her heart beat fast, but her mind was sharp. She had practiced these steps many times in flight simulators. She imagined the runway in front of her and followed the instructions exactly. The jet wobbled again, but she corrected it. Ground crews ran alongside the runway, ready to help. Fire trucks moved to the sides, engines roaring, ready for any emergency. Other pilots scrambled to get into position in case they needed to assist. Mina's father finally reached the edge of the runway. Tears filled his eyes. He shouted, "Mina, you are brave, but be careful. Listen to them carefully." "I am listening, Papa," she said, gripping the controls tightly. She had never felt such a rush of adrenaline in her life. The roar of the engine was deafening, but she blocked it out. Her focus was only on keeping the jet steady. Minutes felt like hours. Every small movement of her hands mattered. She had to adjust the throttle, control the pitch, and watch the speed. The jet responded slowly to her touch, but it responded. The impossible was happening. She was flying an F-22, ground control coordinated with the nearby pilots. "Mina, you are doing amazing. Stay calm. Keep the jet level. We will guide you to land." Mina swallowed hard. The landing would be the hardest part. She had never practiced it in a real plane. She knew one wrong move could end everything. But she also knew that panic would make it worse. She remembered all the simulator practice she had done and imagined the runway. Like a line in front of her, the jet moved closer to the end of the runway. The engines roared, shaking the ground. Mina adjusted the yoke slightly and nudged the throttle. The plane began to straighten out. The runway seemed endless, but she stayed focused. Other pilots flew alongside her, guiding her. One pilot, Captain Rami, flew in front, signaling the correct path. Mina followed his every move. She copied his turns and adjustments. The F-22 began to respond better. Armand watched, holding his hands to his face. "My daughter. She is flying a real F-22. She is saving the plane." Mina's hands were steady now. Her fear was still there, but it was controlled. Her mind was clear. Every lever, every button, every instrument mattered. She adjusted the flaps slowly, preparing for the landing. She could hear the pilot guiding her, counting down the distance. The jet was almost at the end of the runway. Fire trucks were in position, ready for a crash. Ground crews held their breath. Mina focused on the instruments, the horizon, and the runway. She pulled the yoke gently and reduced the throttle. The jet began to descend slowly. The wheels touched the ground lightly at first, then with more stability. Mina kept the controls steady. The jet rolled down the runway, wobbling slightly, but not dangerously. The ground erupted in cheers. Soldiers, pilots, and technicians ran toward the jet. Mina had done it. She had taken control of a fighter jet after the pilot collapsed. She had saved the plane and possibly many lives. Her father ran to her, tears streaming down his face. "Mina, you did it. You really did it." Mina smiled, exhausted but proud. "I just remembered what you taught me, Papa. I stayed calm and followed instructions." The F-22 came to a complete stop. Mina climbed out of the cockpit slowly. Pilots and ground crew surrounded her, lifting her onto their shoulders. The jets roared above in salute, a rare honor. Mina could hardly believe it. She was 11 years old, and she had flown a real fighter jet. That day, the base celebrated the bravery of a young girl who had faced the impossible. Mina had proven that courage, focus, and intelligence could shine even in the most dangerous moments. As the sun climbed higher, Mina stood near the jet, looking at the sky. She dreamed of flying higher, faster, and farther. She had discovered the power of human bravery, and nothing would ever stop her. Mina felt the wind rushing past the F-22 as she guided it gently toward the runway. Her hands were steady, but her heart raced with excitement. The escort jets were still in formation around her, creating a protective shield. They had become more than guides, they were like guardians. watching every movement she made. Falcon 1, Captain Raymai's voice came over the radio. Calm but firm, you are perfectly aligned. Begin final descent. Keep wings level. You can do this. Mina nodded, though she knew he could not see her. Her small fingers gripped the yoke tightly. The jet began to descend slowly, following the slope of the runway. She felt a mixture of fear and thrill. She had flown this powerful aircraft through a crisis, but landing it safely would be the greatest challenge. Ground control monitored everything closely. Falcon 1, keep your speed steady. You are doing wonderfully. Extend flaps and landing gears slowly. Precision is key. Mina followed the instructions carefully. She pulled the lever for the landing gear. She could hear the metallic click as the wheels locked into place. The flaps moved down, adjusting the airflow. The jet responded to her actions smoothly, as if acknowledging her careful touch. Below, the runway stretched ahead. Fire trucks, ambulances, and ground crews were in position. Every eye at the base was fixed on the young girl flying the jet. The tension was thick, but Mina felt a strange calm. She had learned to focus in impossible situations. Her fear was now controlled by determination and concentration. Falcon 1. Captain Rami said, maintain alignment with the center line. Small adjustments only. You are almost there. Mina adjusted the throttle slightly, reducing the speed further. The jet descended more smoothly, the wheels almost ready to touch the ground. She felt a thrill of pride. She had done so much already. But this final landing would prove everything. The escort jets signaled approval, flying slightly above and around her. Their engines roared in a rhythmic harmony. Mina felt supported, as though the jets themselves were acknowledging her courage. She followed the lead jet's movements precisely, adjusting her speed and angle to match its glide path. Falcon 1. Good. Begin slight nose-up adjustment for landing, Captain Rami instructed. Mina moved the yoke gently. The nose of the jet lifted slightly, softening the first contact of the wheels with the runway. The tires touched down carefully, rolling along the surface without wobbling dangerously. She adjusted the throttle to maintain balance, allowing the jet to slow gradually. The wind pushed against the wings, but Mina held the controls steady. She felt every vibration, every movement, every breath of air. She adjusted, nudged, and held. Her young mind, perfectly in sync with the powerful machine beneath her ground control, spoke urgently but encouragingly. Falcon 1, keep straight. You are doing better than anyone expected. The runway is clear. Fire trucks are ready, but stay in control. Mina focused. Her small hands moved with precision, her eyes tracking the instruments in the runway ahead. The jet's speed dropped steadily. The wheels rolled over the markings, perfectly aligned with the center line. She felt a wave of relief, but she did not let herself relax yet. She had to complete this landing safely. The other jets in formation flanked her, providing a steady rhythm and support. Mina realized that this was not just a landing, it was a demonstration of teamwork, trust, and courage. She had started as a child in panic. Now she was a pilot coordinating with some of the fastest and most advanced jets in the world. Falcon 1. Reduce throttle gradually and begin braking gently. Captain Rami guided. Mina pressed the controls carefully, slowing the jet down. The tires rolled on the runway, gripping the surface as the speed decreased. The engines whined softly as she adjusted the throttle. She had done this before in simulators, but nothing felt like this. The weight, the speed, and the wind made every small action critical. Fire trucks and emergency vehicles flanked the runway, but Mina ignored them, focusing only on the jet. She lowered the nose slightly to keep the jet steady. The runway stretched ahead, but she felt confidence growing in every movement. The jet rolled slower and slower. Mina kept the yoke steady, adjusting the throttle for smooth braking. She felt the vibrations through the metal, sensing the friction of the tires against the runway. She was in complete control. Falcon 1, Captain Rami said. Excellent. Prepare to exit the runway. Maintain awareness of surroundings. Mina guided the jet to a safe spot. She slowed it completely, brought it to a stop, and cut the throttle. Her small hands trembled slightly, but her face lit with pride and relief. She had done it. She had landed the F-22 safely. The base erupted into cheers. Ground crews ran toward the jet, applauding and shouting words of admiration. Soldiers lifted Mina onto their shoulders, celebrating her bravery and skill. The escort F-22s flew in salute above her, engines roaring in a display of respect. Mina looked around. She felt a mix of exhaustion and joy. She had faced fear, learned rapidly, and controlled a powerful aircraft like a seasoned pilot. She had not only survived, but had also performed heroically. Her father, Armand, ran to her side, tears streaming down his face. "Mina, you did it. You really did it. I am so proud of you." Mina smiled, exhausted but happy. "I just remembered what you taught me, Papa. I stayed calm and learned fast." The jet listened to me. Captain Rami approached, nodding in admiration. "Mina, you have shown courage, intelligence, and skill beyond your years. You are a hero, not just to us, but to everyone watching." The escort pilots flew in a tight salute formation above. Mina looked up, eyes wide with amazement. Their engines roared as they circled, a silent acknowledgement of her bravery. She had flown among the fastest jets in the world and earned their respect. Ground crews helped Mina down from the jet. She looked at the F-22 beneath her. It had been her challenge, her responsibility. And now it stood safely on the runway. A symbol of what humans could achieve when they stayed focused and brave. Falcon 1. Captain Rami said over the radio one last time, "You have made history today. Remember this moment. Remember that courage and intelligence can overcome any obstacle." Mina nodded, her eyes shining. She had learned more than flying. She had learned about responsibility, focus, and human potential. Even as a child, she had faced an impossible situation and succeeded. The base continued to celebrate. Soldiers, pilots, and technicians surrounded Mina, lifting her onto their shoulders and clapping. Fire trucks sprayed water into the air, creating arcs of mist that sparkled in the morning sunlight. Mina laughed, feeling joy and pride swelling inside her. Her father hugged her tightly. "You are amazing, Mina. You have shown the world what humans can do. I could not be prouder." Mina smiled at him. "I just did what I had to do, Papa. I stayed calm, learned quickly, and trusted myself. That is all." Pilots returned to their jets, saluting her one last time before landing safely themselves. Mina watched as they disappeared into the sky, feeling inspired and proud. She had become part of a team, part of a story of bravery and human skill. That day, Mina had not only saved a jet, but had also inspired everyone at Falcon Air Base. She had proven that age and size did not matter when courage, intelligence, and determination guided actions as the sun rose higher. Mina stood beside the F-22, exhausted but smiling. She looked at the sky and dreamed of flying even higher, faster, and farther. She had faced fear, learned quickly, and achieved something extraordinary. The base celebrated her bravery, and news crews began capturing the story of the 11-year-old girl who had flown an F-22. Mina realized that this moment would stay in history as a symbol of human courage, skill, and focus. She looked at the runway, the jets, and the cheering crowd. A sense of pride and determination filled her. This was only the beginning. More adventures, challenges, and opportunities awaited, and Mina knew she would face them with the same courage and calm she had shown today. Mina smiled, feeling ready for the future. The sky was wide, the jets were fast, and the world was full of possibilities, and she was ready to soar. The morning sun shone brightly over Falcon Air Base. Mina stood beside the F-22 she had flown heroically, her small hands folded in front of her. The crowd of soldiers, technicians, and pilots surrounded her, cheering and clapping. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment that had already begun to make history. Her father, Armand, held her hand tightly, pride written all over his face. "Mina," he whispered, "you have done something no one will ever forget. You were brave, smart, and focused. Today, you have shown what humans can do." Mina looked up at the sky, feeling a mixture of excitement and humility. She had never imagined that her love for airplanes could lead to something so extraordinary. She had saved a fighter jet, flown with expert pilots, and landed safely. And now she realized the world was noticing. Ground control and military leaders approached her. General Haniff, a tall and serious man with kind eyes, knelt slightly to meet her gaze. "Mina," he said gently, "you have shown courage and intelligence beyond your years. Today, you became a symbol of bravery for all humans. We are proud to honor you." Mina blushed slightly, unsure what to say. "I just did what I thought I had to do," she whispered. General Haniff smiled. "That is exactly what heroes do. They act with courage and focus, even when others might be afraid. Today you proved that even the youngest among us can make a difference." The crowd cheered louder. Soldiers lifted Mina onto their shoulders, and pilots saluted. Above, the F-22 escort jets flew in a perfect V formation, engines roaring in salute. The noise was powerful, echoing across the base. Yet it was filled with respect and admiration. News crews approached, microphones and cameras in hand. "Mina," one reporter asked, "how did it feel to fly the F-22 and land it safely?" Mina smiled shyly. "It was scary at first, but I stayed calm. I listened to instructions and focused on what I could control. That helped me fly safely." Her words were simple, yet everyone in the crowd understood their meaning. Courage, focus, and intelligence were what had saved the day. Mina had inspired not just those at the base, but people across the world who would see her story. The ceremony continued. General Haniff presented Mina with a medalla symbol of honor and bravery. It was small, but gleamed brightly in the morning sun. "Mina," he said, placing it around her neck, "you have earned this. You have shown that humans can rise to any challenge, no matter their age. We salute you." Mina touched the medal, feeling a warmth in her chest. She realized that this was not just about the medal, it was about what she had done. She had faced fear, learned quickly, and achieved something extraordinary. She had become an example of what humans were capable of. Pilots came forward next. They knelt or bowed slightly, a mark of respect. One of them, Captain Rami, smiled at her. "Mina," he said, "you have shown skill that most adults could not match. You flew with courage and intelligence. You are one of us today and always will be." Mina's eyes widened. "Me, one of you?" she asked. Captain Rami nodded. "Yes, you have proven yourself in the sky. Today, you became part of the story of these jets and the people who fly them. You inspired all of us." The escort F-22s above her formed a perfect salute formation. Their engines roared, and Mina felt the vibration through the ground. She looked up in awe. Even the jets themselves seemed to recognize her bravery. She smiled, proud and amazed. Soldiers, technicians, and staff cheered continuously. Mina's actions were extraordinary. She had faced danger without hesitation. She had learned the complex controls of a powerful jet and guided it to safety. And she had inspired everyone who watched. Later, the base commander invited Mina and her father into the control tower. From there, she could see all the jets lined up. "Mina," the commander said, "we want to offer you something special. You are invited to the Pilot Academy to learn and grow as a future pilot. Your skills and courage deserve training and guidance." Mina's eyes widened in surprise. "A pilot academy? Really?" "Yes," the commander replied. "You are young, but you have shown the mind and courage of a pilot. If you choose, you can become one of the finest pilots the world has ever seen." Mina felt a thrill of excitement. She had always dreamed of flying, but now the dream was real. Not only had she faced fear, but she had also proven her ability. The world had recognized her talent. Her father smiled proudly. "Mina, this is your moment. You have shown the world what courage, focus, and intelligence can do. You can become whatever you want." Mina looked out at the sky. The jets above were flying smoothly, engines roaring, leaving trails behind them. She imagined herself soaring alongside them, learning new maneuvers and exploring the limits of the sky. The feeling of freedom and possibility filled her heart. News reports soon spread across the country. Headlines praised the bravery of an 11-year-old girl who had flown an F-22 and landed safely. Videos showed her guiding the jet, the salute of the other F-22s, and the applause of the soldiers. Mina became an inspiration for children and adults alike. At school later, her friends crowded around her, eyes wide with admiration. "Mina, you really flew a jet," one asked. "Yes," Mina replied simply, smiling. "I learned, stayed calm, and focused on what I could do. That's how I did it." Her friends were amazed. They began to realize that even ordinary people could do extraordinary things if they stayed brave and concentrated. Mina had shown them that age, size, or experience did not matter when courage and intelligence guided actions in the days that followed. Mina visited the pilot academy. She began learning about aircraft, navigation, and safety. The instructors were impressed by her quick learning and focus. She practiced in simulators, preparing for future flights. Even though she was young, her determination set her apart. Mina's story became a symbol of hope. People everywhere admired her bravery and skill. Children wrote letters saying she inspired them to face challenges and believe in themselves. Adults admired the intelligence and courage she had displayed. Mina realized that her actions had made a difference far beyond the airbase. One afternoon, she stood on a balcony overlooking the airbase. Jets soared above, their engines roaring, leaving trails across the sky. Mina thought about everything that had happened, the pilot collapsing, the fear, the responsibility, and the landing. She smiled, knowing she had done something extraordinary. Her father came beside her. "Mina," he said softly, "you have shown the world what humans can achieve. You have inspired everyone. Remember this moment. Remember that courage and focus can change the impossible into reality." Mina nodded. "I will, Papa. I will keep learning and flying. I want to show everyone that humans can do amazing things." The sun set behind the mountains, casting a golden glow over the base. Mina watched as the jets returned from their exercises, engines humming softly. She dreamed of flying among them, pushing boundaries, and exploring the skies. She realized that being brave was not just about flying a jet. It was about believing in oneself, learning quickly, and staying focused even in the scariest moments. She had discovered the power of human courage and intelligence. She knew it would guide her for the rest of her life. As darkness fell, the base quieted down. Mina looked up at the stars, imagining herself soaring among them one day. She felt ready for whatever challenges awaited. She had learned that humans could rise above fear and perform incredible feats. She had become a symbol of hope, courage, and skill. Her story would be remembered for years. Pilots would tell it to young trainees, and children would read about it in books. Mina had not only flown a powerful jet, but it also inspired a generation to believe in their potential. She smiled, feeling proud, hopeful, and ready for the future. The sky was wide, full of possibilities, and she knew she would rise to meet them all. Mina had faced fear, learned quickly, and achieved greatness. And she would continue to soar. The Orion Dawn moved steadily toward the northern settlements of the Glimmer sector. Below, the planets shimmered with lights from cities and towns, each settlement connected by trade routes and communication networks. Rami sat near the cockpit, quietly reviewing the details of the conflicts reported by the Council. His calm presence radiated a quiet authority that seemed to reassure everyone on board. Mira moved through the cabin, making sure passengers were comfortable. She had changed since the beginning of the journey. Her attitude toward Rami had shifted from judgment to respect. She noticed how he responded to every situation calmly, without raising his voice or showing frustration. Even the pilots seemed to defer to his judgment, not because they were required to, but because his understanding was clear and his advice precise. "Commander," Rami said, pointing to the holographic map, "the settlements are reporting tensions over water and energy distribution. We must prioritize dialogue before sending supplies. The situation could escalate if one side feels ignored." Vero nodded. "Agreed. Your insight is valuable. We will follow your lead on this." Nico leaned closer. "Rami, do you want to communicate with the leaders now, or wait until we land?" Rami thought for a moment. "We should contact them in advance. If they know we are coming to understand their concerns, they will be more willing to cooperate." Mira watched in silence. She realized that Ramy's ability to anticipate needs and solve problems was far beyond what most travelers could do. He did not act out of pride, but out of careful thought and concern for others. His intelligence was practical, focused on solutions that protected everyone. The shuttle approached the first settlement, a small city built along the edge of a glowing river. Its streets shimmered with soft lights, and the buildings reflected the faint glow of the stars above. Sensors on the shuttle detected movement near the landing area. Several people waved, expecting the arrival of the Orion Dawn. Suddenly, an alert sounded. The sensors had detected an unregistered vessel approaching the settlement. It was a cargo ship, but its markings were unfamiliar. Mira froze for a moment, unsure of the potential danger. Rami noticed her concern and placed a reassuring hand lightly on the railing. "Do not worry," he said calmly. "We will assess before reacting. Panic only makes problems worse." The vessel moved closer, and the shuttle's sensors picked up several armed drones on board. Commander Vero's brow furrowed. They could be hostile. "We must proceed with caution," Rami nodded. "Agreed. Let us attempt communication first. If they are willing to talk, conflict can be avoided." Nico activated the communication channel, sending a clear and polite message. "This is Rami of the Orion Dawn. We are here to ensure the safety of the settlement. Please identify yourselves and your purpose." There was a tense pause. Mira held her breath. The passengers murmured quietly. Then, a voice came through the channel, calm but wary. "This is Captain Tallow of the Orion Freight. We are delivering emergency supplies, but our communication systems were damaged. We mean no harm." Rami listened carefully. "Captain Tallow, thank you for clarifying. Please follow our instructions to dock safely. We will guide you to the landing area." The cargo vessel adjusted its course, following the shuttle's guidance. The drones on board were deactivated remotely, and the vessel docked smoothly. The passengers on the shuttle watched in awe as the situation was resolved without violence. Mira could not help but feel admiration for Rami's calm and thoughtful approach. Once the vessel was secure, Rami addressed the settlement leaders through a secure channel. "I understand that tensions have risen over water and energy distribution. I am here to listen and work toward a solution that benefits everyone. Please provide your perspectives, and I will ensure that all concerns are heard." Leaders from both sides responded cautiously but respectfully. Rami listened attentively, asking clear questions and noting the key points. He did not interrupt or argue. Instead, he repeated their concerns in his own words to show understanding and ensure accuracy. Mira observed quietly, noticing how his calm demeanor encouraged cooperation as the discussion continued. Myra was assigned to assist passengers and maintain order on the shuttle. She moved through the cabin, helping those who were nervous or curious. But her mind kept returning to Rami. She realized that his authority came not from rank or force, but from his ability to understand, listen, and act with wisdom. His presence alone prevented escalation and inspired confidence in everyone around him. Hours passed as Rami coordinated with the settlement leaders. Finally, he proposed a plan that balanced the needs of both sides. Water would be shared based on population and immediate need, while energy supplies would be distributed according to usage patterns and efficiency. Rami suggested the creation of a monitoring committee, composed of representatives from both settlements to ensure fairness. The leaders agreed. Mira watched as relief spread across their faces. The tension that had gripped the settlements for weeks began to ease. Even the pilots expressed admiration for Rami's ability to solve problems without confrontation. After the initial negotiations, the shuttle prepared to continue to the next settlement. Mira approached Rami hesitantly. "Sir," she said softly, "I did not realize. I misjudged you before. I see now how important your work is." Rami smiled gently. "Thank you for acknowledging it. Understanding comes from observation and reflection. It is not easy to change one's assumptions, but it is always possible." Mira nodded, feeling a sense of humility. She realized that her earlier behavior had been unfair. She promised herself to approach everyone with respect in the future. As the shuttle moved on, another alert sounded. This time, the sensors detected multiple small ships approaching at high speed. Mira's heart raced. "They are not responding to communication," Nico said. "They may be hostile." Rami stepped forward, studying the readings. "Let us remain calm. They may be unaware of our intentions. Attempt one more communication channel and give them clear instructions." The pilots activated the channel. Rami spoke in a firm but respectful tone. "This is Rami of the Orion Dawn. You are approaching a settlement. Please reduce speed and identify yourselves. We mean no harm." The small ships slowed slightly, but one continued at full speed. Mira held her breath. The shuttle's shields glowed faintly as they prepared for possible impact. Rami did not panic. He analyzed the ship's trajectory, calculated the safest approach, and directed the pilots with precision. "Adjust shields to partial deflection and maintain a steady course. We must show readiness without aggression." The approaching ship finally responded. Its captain, a young man named Kieran, explained that their navigation systems had failed and that they were trying to reach the settlement for urgent medical supplies. Rami listened carefully, confirmed their needs, and guided them to a safe landing zone. Myra exhaled slowly. The crisis had been resolved without any harm. She realized again how Rami's calm thinking and careful observation had prevented disaster. His strength was not in fighting, but in understanding, planning, and guiding others. Once the situation was stabilized, the shuttle landed near the next settlement. Rami continued his work, meeting with leaders, listening to concerns, and proposing practical solutions. Mira assisted quietly, learning from his example. She began to understand that leadership and respect were earned through actions, patience, and fairness, not by demanding attention or asserting dominance. As night fell on the settlements, the Orion Dawn hovered above, its lights casting a gentle glow. Rami looked out at the towns below, calm and focused. He had faced challenges, but none had shaken his composure. Mira watched him, inspired by the quiet strength he demonstrated. Passengers slept or relaxed, unaware of the small crises that had been averted. Mira walked past them, carrying supplies and helping where needed. She reflected on the lessons of the day. Appearances could be deceiving, respect was earned, and true strength came from wisdom and patience. Rami returned to his seat near the cockpit, reviewing the plans for the next day. Myra approached once more. "Sir," she said softly, "I hope to learn from you. I want to treat everyone with the respect they deserve, no matter who they are." Rami looked at her with a gentle smile. "That is the right path. Understanding, patience, and fairness will guide you. Remember, the way we treat others reflects our own humanity." The shuttle remained in orbit above the settlements, a silent guardian. Mira sat quietly, contemplating her own actions and the example Rami had set. She realized that even small acts of respect and calm could prevent conflict and inspire others to do the same. Rami, calm and observant, continued planning for the next settlement. The challenges were many, but he faced them with quiet strength. Mira now understood that true leadership was not about power, but about listening, guiding, and helping others find the best solutions. And so, the Orion Dawn moved through the night, carrying its passengers safely. Guided by the calm intelligence and dignity of Rami, Mira, inspired and thoughtful, understood that humanity's greatest strength lay not in weapons or technology, but in the ability to think clearly, act wisely, and treat others with respect.